The epic tale of bikes. Premium Rush. So Premium Rush is the story of a bunch of bike couriers. The main one is Joseph Gordon-Levitt. He's like the best of the best in that field. And I really like that when movies do that, you know? No matter what it is, it could be like, oh, this is the greatest pig on earth at getting truffles. And if they sell me on it, I'll be like, cool, that pig is the best pig on earth at getting truffles. Let's watch the movie. Because I like seeing a master of a craft at work, you know? And on this particular day, Joseph Gordon-Levitt has to take a package from point A to point B, and well, it's a package that Michael Shannon wants. And the setup of this movie is awesome. For the first few minutes, you're like, I'm into this, because they break it down for you so well. You know, they got the rules. I like it when the best of the best is not only the best of the best, but he's the best while abiding by the rules. You know, he has a set of standards for himself. He's like, the pedals never stop moving. You never coast your bike. You get from point A to point B in the fastest time possible. That's what we do because we're awesome. And it had really cool effects. He'll run into a situation like a bunch of cars are going and it shows the different scenarios like that movie Next or something. And it shows the ones that'll fail and then he finds the right path and he just goes and does it. I thought it was a really cool stylish thing. I was excited for this movie. It had all the elements in the first few minutes to be a great movie. And then people started talking and then the script spoke for itself. Yeah, the script is not that great. I mean, you have these great actors in the movie. Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays the guy that you're rooting for and he does his job well. You're rooting for him for the entire movie. You're like, yeah, dude, be awesome. Be the best courier possible. Michael Shannon plays the villain. When you first meet him, you're like, this guy is going to kick ass. I already knew the guy was a great actor, but that first line he has with Joseph Gordon-Levitt where he grabs his handlebars and he's like, do you have people who care about you? People who don't want you hurt? People who want to see you again? You're like, oh, General Zod, I get you. And then strangely, his character just changes into another character. He was just a cartoon villain. He would say and do things where you're like, you are two different people. His voice even got higher. He went from menacing to really talking like this, you know? And you're like, oh, all right, well, now you're a dipshit. I mean, he goes from badass to really scared weasel that just bitches about everything. The dude does the best he can. But his best just isn't good enough to save the movie because it's proof positive that when you have a shit script and a director who's apparently on Heisenberg's blue meth, it's gonna show through in the movie. And you have that one hot Asian chick from Sucker Punch, and I think she was in Sorority Row also. She was as bad as it gets. The entire movie, she has to have this Asian accent, and it's the worst Asian accent I've ever heard. Her having an accent doesn't change the movie at all, so I can promise you this. The director saw the movie, and he was like, if I could change one thing, yeah, he has to pick one thing, I guess. Of the things that he will want to change in the movie after he sees the final cut, I can promise you her having an Asian accent is one of them. It's one of those movies that has enough high-octane tricks and really cool things in the movie that you're like, all right, I'll forget about the shit script for a second. But once you get out of the movie and you go home, you start thinking about it and you're like, I like the movie less and less, to the point where you're like, I hate the movie. If you are a movie reviewer out there, wait a day after seeing this movie before you actually review it. Let it all soak in. Because I promise you, by day 2, your rating will be different than it was on day 1. And I recognize that there is a demographic of people that will enjoy this movie. If you enjoy movies like Crank or Ghost Rider 2, I think you're gonna enjoy it. It's mindless bike fun, and that's all good. But if you start thinking about the movie at all, don't do that if you want to enjoy it. And at that point, my only advice to you to enjoy the movie would be, hey, don't use your brain. And I just can't do that to you. You have a brain. Use that brain. Might come in handy one day. In the end, I will say Premium Rush is one of those movies you won't remember in T-minus the car ride home. Yep, already forgot. Sorry, General Zod and JGL, you both tried, but alas, was not enough, but that's not your fault. And as I said in my last video, I was down in LA doing a podcast with Schmoesknow and Katee Sackhoff. It's a 2-hour podcast. We recap the summer movies. We talk about movies. It's a lot of fun. For the first 40 minutes of that podcast, we have Sean Astin on there. I put links to the podcast below. You guys should check that out for sure. I'm telling you to check it out because it is bar none, hands down, the most fun I've ever had talking about movies for 2 hours. I felt like I was just hanging out with 4 friends, having a good time. We all had a blast. It shows. You guys will have fun. Check it out. The 2 hours just flies by, I promise you. So when you check out the podcast, comment below, let me know what you thought of it. There's a lot of fun in there. And watch the video of it too on Toad Hop Network. Link is below. You see the video of it. The video is just fun as hell. You see us all reacting. It's the full experience, friends. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.